Model train layouts. Ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted one. I mean, no matter how complex or how simple they are, they always find a way to catch your attention. In this video, I'll be taking you through the first steps I made to construct my layout. So I spent some time designing a layout, making sure it had everything I wanted and it wasn't too clustered. And so after endless nights of designing, I came up with this. With a roundhouse and maintenance shed to the right, it also had a windmill, it had a goods shed, signals, a coal tower and water tower, and also had Gordon's ditch. It had everything a layout I thought would need. However, it was too big and we're stuck with this now. The goods shed was removed and the maintenance shed was moved from the bottom right to the top left. After assembling the plywood base, I started to put the track together, and I'll hand it over to my past self to explain everything that I did. So this is the layout as it stands at the moment. We'll start off with the sheds area. The sheds, you want to come in through this point, this switch here, go up that way on the Y switch, you'll end up on the turntable. The sheds will be sweeping that way towards the viewer. Just have like a nice little siding because there's always sidings next to the sheds. Might as well add that in the layout. We'll get to that piece of track. Over here we're going to have a coal station thing. It's going to be plain siding there. Might have a water tower somewhere here. Over here I'm planning on having a Gordon's ditch type of thing. So I don't know how that's going to roll out, but hopefully it does roll out pretty good. Over here we're going to have some nice long sidings. We're going to fit like a carriage shed or an engine shed, another engine shed. Yeah, it's gonna let's fill up that scene so it's just not all just ballast everywhere here. There's like actually buildings here. The main line is mostly complete. It just needs to fill that in. And yeah, I'm gonna give you a whole view of the layout. Just try to envision it. Sheds there, work sheds here. You're gonna have like a hill over there, a field, probably gonna have terrace here, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna have a town scene with retaining walls around the track. So this is what the track layout looks like without any scenery or any destinations on it. It's pretty simple, but once I start putting like destinations and scenery onto the layout, I think it will look pretty good. So as you can see, I've added foam to the bottom of the layout. It gives height to the layout. I think it's like good 5 centimeters in height. And what that does actually is it makes it easier to dig out Gordon's ditch. And what it does is it also opens up the possibility of adding a Pico turntable instead of this, which I might actually do because I've had some issues with this turntable, especially that side. Sometimes the connections aren't lining up and it's not giving power to the track. So yeah, other than that, it was a bit of a pain because the board isn't sitting flat, and you can see I've used duct tape over here and some wet paper to cover up the gaps, the big gaps. I don't know how good that's going to work, but we'll find out once it dries. But another thing is, because like I've said that it doesn't line up with the board properly, I'm thinking of adding like skirting around the edges of the thing just to cover that up. And what the skirting does is just not only hides it, but it actually makes it look a bit more presentable. I think that's the way to go. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just planning out stuff with the coal tower, I forgot what this calls, like coal station, I think. The water tower, that's gonna be that GWI Dunster train shed I have. It's gonna go there. It's gonna act as a carriage shed, or just a shed in general, maintenance shed. In fact, I'm gonna call it that. But yeah, that's what it looks like so far. So when it comes to powering the layout, we're gonna have these dropper fish plates fit onto the inside and outside curves just over here. They're gonna go there. That's gonna give power to the main line. We're also gonna have one here, a pair on the back of those. I might add one on that just so I can have power running to it. But I'm pretty sure if there's power running to this, I can change that if there's power running to that fourth store there, it will get power there if I turn it there, so it's fine. But if I want to add the Pico turntable, then that's gonna need a power source. Before wiring the layout, I decided to make a temporary connection to run some trains on it because I was scared. I didn't want to ruin the layout, first of all, and because it's the first time I've ever wired anything, I was crapping bricks at this point. But I guess the wiring mess that I had next to me while running trains got annoying, and I started wiring. As you can see, I started drilling holes into the foam and board. Took off the old fish plates and put on the new wide fish plates from Pico. Afterwards, I fed the wires to the foam and the board and connected them using some extra length of wire to the terminal block. Following that, I cut out a square hole in the foam to house the NTE power cab terminal, and afterwards I drilled out holes for the track wires and the transformer wire to feed through. I then connected the track wires to the terminal block, and after some very crude wire management, I turned it on to see if it was working, and to my surprise, it did. And can I just say, it is so much easier to run trains and do everything I need to do with the wiring of the power cab properly secured into the layout, and I don't have to deal with it. It's not in front of my face. It makes life so much easier. And this is the layout as it stands. It is awesome to have this up. I don't have to pack it away. It makes life so much easier for me when I want to run trains. I could just go into my garage, turn it on, run trains, turn it off, and leave. I don't have to do any packing. It makes life so much easier. But there are a few things I want to do as well. Like I want to add a proper table to the layout as well. So I want the base to be on a proper wooden table, so that way it's flat and there's no bending, and when I finally put scenery, it doesn't crack when I try to lift it or take it out of the garage. And also skirting around the layout, it needs to be done, I'm sorry, but like it just makes it more presentable, if you know what I mean. But yeah, if there's any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments, and this is a little teaser for what's coming next. Have a good one and take care.